perception of the Moors and Egyptians based on their status. It states here, this is page 328. Nor was the white paint upon his face a superfluity as it is now, for his complexion was that of the swarthy Egyptian Moors. This picto-Moorish identity has become less and less visible during the lapse of time. Reed the mountebank and his blackamoors show us that. So again, the term they use to describe a dark Egyptian Moor is swarthy. What's that? Which book is this? Oh, this is 2. Ancient and Modern Britons, Volume 2. Now, I'm going to read this passage. This falls in line with what the Grand Sheik talked about last week with the Boston Tea Party. Some of that flew over you guys' heads, but I'm going to read it. The last of these, in many instances, are accustomed to blacken their faces artificially, that they might better pass for Moors, while those who act as clowns presumably paint their faces of various colors. Right. So he talked about the Boston Tea Party, how they dressed up like Indians. But we know Indians wasn't navigating the 7 seas, it was the Moors. So for them to dress up for them to darken their faces and dress up like that, I mean, that was a norm to see people with dark skin. Otherwise, they'd have been sticking out like a sore thumb. So they would have never been able to throw over the tea overboard if they hadn't dressed up like dark people. Swarthy. And here you have it in Ancient and Modern Britons. They talk about people putting on dark paint on their face to pass as Moors. This is page 119. These are questions that belong to Egyptology. These are questions that belong to Egyptology rather than gypsyology. Though it is difficult to say where the one begins and the other ends. And as gypsies are of all races, so are these references to Persians and Phoenicians not out of place. For like the gypsy, Egyptians must be taken to include a good deal of Assyrian, Jewish, Chaldean, as well as Phoenician and Persian. And you know the Phoenicians are the Canaanites. Islam. The black art dub of the conjurers, magicians, Druidian of early Britain was regarded as Pliny as almost identical to that practiced by Magi of Persia and the enchanters, magicians, and wise men attached to the court of the Pharaoh mentioned in the book of Exodus were akin to both of these in custom. The Lewis Messiah and the Fordham Marine worn by the Judean of ancient Scotia, ancient Scotland, has been observed identical with the breastplates and the urim of Jewish and Chaldea priests, which is not all remarkable if those priests of Ireland were early Scots, that is, Egyptians. The hieroglyph tablets of the early Scots, their long glib tresses, that's not dresses, but tresses with a T, and the ruddle which they smeared their dusky faces may all be matched in Egypt and Assyria. While such varieties of the magic just referred to as sun worship, serpent worship, astrology, soothsaying, and fortune telling, and also the customs of passing children through the fire of Baal and the burying of the dead in sarcophagi are as much the property of British islands of the East. So even when you talk about the prophet Noble Drew Ali, in some Moorish law, they say he was at one time part of a gypsy band. Gypsies are like descendants of the Moors, the Moorish tribes. So some of the alchemy and the magic that the Moors did, the gypsies picked that up, like fortune telling. Say it again. All right. So even some of the customs of the Moors, or like fortune telling, these are things that Moors did. The gypsies picked them up. Now you see today, a lot of gypsies, they're like pale-looking Europeans, mixed Europeans. That's what you see today. But the original gypsies, again, were descendants of the Moors. Yeah. Right. Yeah, that's right. The heavyweight in Fort Klitschko. Yeah. The big guy. Yeah, I can't remember his name either.
But he's a gypsy, but he looked like every other pale-skinned European.
Right.
But they're racist against this group of people.
They are. Yep, that's right. So with that, my time is about up. I'm going to get into more of this next week with the language they use as far as swarthy and dub. When you hear those terms, swarthy and dub, they talking about, dark-skinned Asiatics. Tyson Fury, that's right. Tyson Fury, yeah. And with that, I'm going to say peace.